Well, welcome to Soul Sips on Sunday. Today I'm out at a lake in northern Ontario, and it is quite something living in cottage life. You know, it's the funniest thing because you think that, oh my gosh, all I want to do is go up to a cottage and just relax and chill. And it is gorgeous. As you can see, it's early in the morning, but my goodness, it takes a practice to just get into that mode. It's always something to be sleeping in a different bed, but to listen to the silence and to not have some of the hummings and the amenities that you're used to. And one of them might be a shower for myself. But I thought, this is what these videos are about, or what I would like to step into, which is like keeping it just really real. So I thought today I would bring up a portion of a conversation, out of all due respect, out of my son. But yesterday we had a great conversation, and it turned into a very interesting metaphor that I'd like to share with you. So my son and I, we were in a conversation about compassion. And I was trying to explain to him what compassion was versus feeling sorry for somebody else. And he was basically saying, I'm done with feeling sorry for people, because people just need to get up and get going. And people are just looking for, he didn't use the word pity, but it was, or attention. And he said, you know what, like, I've had really hard things happen to me. And I've chosen to get up. You just need to get up and get going. And I said, yeah, I get that, because that's who I was as well. And that's how I looked at people. I was just like, put your big girl pants on and giddy up and get going. I know life is hard, but you got to get going. And then I said, however, compassion is something that is a place where you don't judge people. It's where you step back and you just go, all right, you're living something different than I am. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to give you this time to tell me what is going on, and I'm not going to try to fix you. And he couldn't quite get his head around it, because then he went on to tell me, he said, you know what, Mom, life is like a marathon. And it's like that feeling when you're at 38 kilometers and you're just done. You're spent and you're out of water. You have no water. You're totally exhausted and you just want to stop. You just don't want to go to the finish line. Even though you know it's just 4 kilometers away, you just don't have it in you. And he says, you know what you do? You lick the sweat off your lips and you keep going. And I laughed and laughed. And this is how his athletic mind thinks. And quite frankly, that's how I used to think too. It was just keep going. And so, which made me kind of think a little bit further. And I didn't feel like I didn't have compassion. I thought I understood people, and I thought I could give people space, and that was really my job. And I loved listening to people, but I think underneath I always just kind of thought, okay, yeah, let's go, giddy up, get going, because that's how I pushed myself through. Even though whatever shit was going on in my life, I just felt that I had control over myself to get myself up. And I always just kind of saw that horizon, just like this particular son of mine. Anyways, it brought me to a larger analogy, because I used to talk about being on the treadmill of life. And that treadmill of life was just, it's just that constant. And it's so hard to get off. it's like one thing after another, and the treadmill just keeps moving, and you got to keep moving your feet, and you pick up and you carry and you go, and you just keep going and keep going and keep going. I used to say this about when my kids were little. It was like, how much sitting time did I get? It was just like, oh my God, I get to sit. And then as time went on, I started literally booking sitting time, and which was 5:30 in the morning. I would get up before everybody woke and have some sitting time. But when you talk about that marathon, it was this route that I kept doing, and I hope that you can relate to this as well. You get on and you start training, you start eating, you start absorbing yourself into this lane. And that lane is very what I call linear. And it's about getting it done. Getting it done. And you just keep moving forward, right, left, eat, drink, sleep, it, until something stops you, right? And you hit that 38 kilometers and you're out of water. And again, we spoke about this. What are the options? And I said, can you sit? Can you rest? I said to my son, can you rest? And he said, yeah, you can rest. You can rest, but you got to get back up. And I said, okay. And then I thought, yeah, I've rested. I've gone on vacations. I've taken breaks. I've read books. And then I get back up and I get going and I hit that finish line. And then I do it all over again. I do it a little bit differently this time. And then I go again and I hit 38 and I'm crashing again. This time I reach to other people and other people hand me water. And I'm like, all right, I'm rejuvenated. I'm ready to go. Well, I finish that finish line and I've got a stomach ache. I've got a stomach ache that goes on for months because of that water that I drank. That water that was coming from somebody I thought I trusted. Somebody, actually, it's more like somebody who I felt was giving me the water in my best interest to help me without judgment. And I don't know if that actually happened. So then I had to peel that layer away and analyze that. And I start that marathon again. And every time I started that marathon, I'd hit 38 kilometers and crash. And I'd find different ways to band-aid myself up to get me to that finish line. But it was when I was thinking about this analogy that I was realizing, being a runner myself, those of you who are runners or who have been around runners, if you've been around a runner, I can speak, and I will speak to myself. We are self-consumed. We're extremely egotistical. We are focused on our next race. We're focused on our next run. We're focused on our sleep before our next big long run on the weekend. We're thinking about our food. We're thinking about our drink. We are actually waving to people on the streets as they honk to us. We actually are listening to people go, oh my God, I can't believe you're disciplined. I can't believe how you can run that far. How do you do it? And we revel in it. And I put this to the marathon of my life. And that marathon that I kept getting on, and the celebration for how do you do it, Andrea? How do you do it? You've got 4 kids. You're running a business. And look at you. You just look as I've had a girlfriend reference me as perfect. And I almost went, oh my God. I am so far from perfect because I was crumbling inside and crashing continually, but nobody saw it. At 38 kilometers, I would do whatever I had to do because I knew that mindset that's in my son of just get up, just get up. Now, here's the thing. I still believe that. I still believe that we have to get up. However, that treadmill of life or that marathon, that's where I think things changed. And that's where things changed for me. And so this analogy then steps into that last time that I ran that marathon. I hit 38K And I needed to be hit by a Mack truck. And that Mack truck came over and it knocked me over so hard and it rolled me into that ditch. And I hung out in that ditch for quite some time. I was all muddy and I was bruised and I was sore and I was depressed. I was like covered in mud until one day I said, nah, I can't hang out here. And my kids are out there. What are they doing? Where are they? So I got out of that mud, that ditch. I climbed out by myself. Nobody was around. I did it myself. And this is also where I think the healing process is. That it's okay to be in the mud. And it's okay to be down and depressed and sad and wherever we're at. I think it's a very important part of our process. But getting out of that ditch, wanting somebody to carry you out, wanting somebody to reach in and pull you out and clean you off, it's again, I think, a Band-Aid. It feels good. Maybe we want somebody to just come and save us. I remember feeling that many times for a long time. I had a girlfriend who I just wanted her to just swoop me up and just take care of me. And she just kept saying, no, Andrea, you need to go. Go put your big girl pants on and take care of yourself and be kind to yourself. And I think that's also where we forget, right? We're allowed to crash. We're allowed to hang out in that ditch. We're allowed to be sad. We're allowed to be depressed. We're allowed to feel shitty. And we're allowed to just be sad at what was, or maybe what we thought, or we were told life was going to be. But you know, life goes on. So you get out of that ditch. And here's then what happened. I felt with me anyways, is I got out of that ditch and I cleaned myself up. And I went back out into the world. I didn't go back into that marathon, but I went back out into that world and I looked the same. And so people thought this was the same. But it changed. Inside me changed. Inside me changed on how I wanted to speak, how I wanted to feel, how I wanted to give space to myself, to people, to my children, what I wanted relationships to look like. And as a result of that, people didn't like that. They didn't like that change. They wanted me to stay the way I was because I was serving them. I was being what they needed me to be. And I think this is what happens when we hang out in that ditch and when we choose to get off that marathon and when we choose to shift out of that world of running and self-consumption and the egotistical ways of worrying about what everybody else is going to say, to feel in response to what I need to do for myself. So I thought this was really, really fantastic that my son is on the cusp. He doesn't quite understand compassion yet. I think he is a compassionate person, but that's life. That's the journey. That's the experience. That's the growth. That's the wisdom. I look back at those days running those marathons, and there was a while that I looked back at them with a bit of regret. Why didn't I get off that marathon faster? You know, why didn't I take myself off? Why didn't I have the strength to get off? And I don't know. But what I don't do anymore is I don't guilt myself. I don't hang out there. I don't hang out in guilt. I sometimes hang out in sadness. As I explained it to my son, I said, I had to break. I had to break. And part of breaking was letting go of a lot of things. And you guys, you kids, that was really hard for you guys to see that because I directed you on everything. We were on that marathon together. and everything was very linear. And I made you go in one direction and then to that direction and this direction. And there was a lot of pressure all over for you guys and for me. I put it on myself, I put it on you. And then it was hard when I broke. But now I go for runs. I love to go for runs, but I only go for 2 a week. I always make sure that I rest in between. I don't time myself. If I need to walk, I walk. I don't get all over myself. And after every run, I sit on my steps, hot and sweaty. I feel alive. I feel extremely grateful that my legs worked, that I had the will and the desire to run and see and feel. There's nothing wrong with running for goals and distances and pushing yourself. But where I'm at with my running now is also a parallel to where I'm at with my life. And it was stepping away from what I thought I had to do, what I thought I needed to do to get to that finish line. And it was ruled by many things that were not within myself. I thought I was supposed to do and be. So getting tossed into that ditch by the Mack truck was probably my deepest and darkest moment in my life. But as I explained to my son, it was also an unbelievable moment in my life, because my level of compassion now is at a space that I never could have got to if I hadn't have hung out in that ditch. I see people, I feel people, I want to give them space. I want to share my story so they can say, someone else like me. And I do believe that is the key to us evolving as humans, is our compassion without judgment. Let people be. My most favorite saying right now, well, I've got a few. I always have a few. One of mine is, you do you and I'll do me. You don't need to judge me. I have no space or place to judge you. You get to do your thing. And I get to sit back and say, you go, girl. Or I can sit back and just go, all right then. You do your thing. I'm going to go do my thing. And I wish you the best. Who am I to say anything about you? And who are you to say anything about me? Let's just do you, and I'll do me. It's kind of a cool way to be. Run if you want, walk if you want, sit if you want, rest if you want, hang out at a cottage. Do whatever you want. Do whatever is inside of you, what your voice is saying you need to do to be you. Cheers.